Data research company Alchemy Works recently analyzed 21 billion marketing emails sent by over 2,500 brands. Their goal was to figure out which were the best subject lines that increased open rates, and their findings have been documented in this exclusive report. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the best insights that you can use to write click-worthy email subject lines that get results. So you're about to learn the best words to use in your email subject lines, the worst words to use that could get your emails flagged as spam, and 7 tried and tested subject line formulas that work and the psychology behind them. Ready to get started? Let's dive in.
So who cares about email subject lines? I mean, why are they even important? Well, if your subject line sucks, people will ignore, delete, or even mark your email as spam. Your email subject line is the headline of your email. If it doesn't do the job of getting people to open the email, then the rest of the email content or copy doesn't matter because it's not going to be read. And that's how important your subject line is. Now, when we're looking at emails, there's actually 3 components that get people to click on the email. It's not only the subject line. And I've listed them in order of importance. We've got number 1, the sender's name, number 2, the subject line, and number 3, the preview text. So what does this mean? Well, the reason why sender's name is number 1 and not the subject line is because it's your relationship with the person sending you the email that matters the most. I'll give you an example. If my best friend sends me an email and I see that and I read that as the first thing, as people typically do, they read who is the sender before they read the subject line. If my best friend sends me an email, it doesn't matter what the subject line is. In fact, it could be blank. I'm going to open that email because that's my best friend. We have a good relation. Conversely, if it's someone I've never heard of before, some absolute stranger, then their email subject line has to be really, truly compelling in order for me to open that email. And that's why the sender name is number 1, subject line is number 2, and preview text is number 3. Preview text is a line of text that gives people a preview of what's to come in the email. You might be wondering, what is a good email open rate? What should I be aiming for to know that this email subject line is effective? Was typically between 17 to 28%. That's the industry standard, but we can do much better than that. Following the tips and lessons and frameworks I'm about to share with you, we can do much better than 28%. We can do up to 65%, even 80% if we use some of the tips I'm about to share with you. So what are some of the best words to use in subject lines? Well, at the beginning of this video, I mentioned the Alchemy Works report, and reading through that report, we found that the top 5 words that when used in email subject lines attracted the highest open rate are the following. So upgrade, 65%, just, 64%, content, 59%, grade, 55%, and wonderful, 55%. Now, what can we learn from this? If you can naturally include these words, not all of them, that wouldn't make much sense, but if you could naturally include these words in your email subject lines, you should be able to increase the open rate, the overall open rate of the subject line. So where it makes sense to do so, try to include these words. Here are some other words to include that have also increased open rates. The word video typically increases open rates by up to 13%, including numbers, not the word numbers, but actual numbers like 7 or 10 or whatever, can increase open rates by up to 57%, the word free by 10%, news by 15%, and last chance, which is an urgency style email. We'll get into styles in just a moment, typically a 9% increase. So really good to know when you're writing email subject lines. Now, what words should you avoid using because they're likely to trigger the spam filters? Every email provider out there, whether it's Outlook or Gmail, have their own inbuilt spam filters, and they're looking for words that spammers typically use when they send emails, right? And these are some of those words. There's actually hundreds of words that trigger spam filters, and you can find those by Googling spam filter words. You'll find a list of the words. These are some of the top words that you'll find that you want to avoid using in your email content and in your subject lines if you want to avoid the spam filters and actually arrive in your recipient's inbox. Now, what I recommend, a tool to everyone, is once you've written your email, both the subject line and the email copy or content, what you want to do is copy and paste the text into a website called spamanalyze.com. I'll provide a link in the video description, and it's a free website. You simply copy and paste the text. You then click on text if it's a text email, or HTML if it's a HTML email, and then you click analyze, and it will let you know if there are any spam words in the email that you can then replace or remove to increase the chances of your email being delivered. So do use that free tool, spamanalyze.com. Now, what makes a good subject line? What are some of the best practices that we found in that report and also on websites like HubSpot.com? Well, number one is personalization. Can you personalize the subject line? Can you include information that you know about your readers in the subject line? Things like their first name is common, their location, their interests, things like of that nature can help increase the open rate. Keeping it brief, no more than 9 words in total, and this is especially important because a lot of people nowadays are reading emails on their mobile, and we don't want to have more than 9 words because they'll be cut off on mobile devices. They won't be able to read those additional words. Number 3 is to avoid special characters because they can often seem like promotional emails. They can also trigger the spam filters. I'm talking about special characters like the $sign, the percentage sign, or the exclamation point. You want to use emojis some of the time, not in every email, but some of the time. They've been shown to increase open rates, and we like to use them at the end of the email. So if you've got words, as you should have in your subject line, you want to place the emojis, or typically just one emoji, at the end of the email, right, of the subject line. You want to avoid clickbait. Clickbait is where you say something in the subject line because you think it will get people to open the email, but then within the content of that email, it's not referenced again. So it feels like you've just said something to get people to open it, but the content of the email is not in any way relevant to the subject line. People feel tricked, and therefore you'll have a bad relationship with your readers. I would not recommend doing that. Avoid using clickbait. Segmentation is really important. If you can segment the people on your list, you might have, say, 1,000 people on your email database. You might have a percentage of those people are actual customers already, and a percentage might be subscribers, people who have not yet purchased anything from you. Well, those are 2 very different groups, right? And 2 very different relationships. People that have spent money with you and people that maybe just be consuming your free content. If you can segment and separate those 2 lists and send, a certain type of emails to the free subscribers and different type of emails to the clients or customers, you're going to get a much better open rate. Number 7 is create urgency where possible, and we're going to get into some examples of writing emails that invoke urgency, but doing so can increase open rates by 9%. So now that we've got the best practices and the best words to use out of the way, let's look at some examples. And I also want to share with you the psychology behind why these types of emails and examples work so well. So first of all is curiosity type emails. Why do these work so well? Well, humans are curious creatures, aren't we? We don't like not knowing the end of a story. We are prone to open loops and cliffhangers. Now, you can make readers curious by asking a question or making a statement that sounds unusual, that makes them going, huh? And they want to know more. So let's look at some examples. So the first one is from Manicube. Manicube is the company, it's not the subject line. What follows is the subject line. So the sender is Manicube, and the subject line reads, "Don't open this email." Now, if you've ever read a subject line like that, you think, well, why? Why shouldn't I open this email? What happens if I open this email? That's building that curiosity. So "Don't open this email" is a really effective email subject line. Thrillist is another sender, and their subject line is "What they eat in prison." Now, believe it or not, there's so many shows and documentaries about prison, because we're naturally curious about people that go to prison. Most of us have never been, and so we're curious about what happens in prison. So that is, an unusual subject line that's going to get people curious. Digital marketer is the sender, and their subject line is, check out my new man cave pics. That's obviously going to appeal to both men and women that are curious about this digital marketer's man cave, and also including the word pics or photos is really good at increasing subject lines as open rates as well. Can you eat yourself thin is an email I wrote, and again, that's going to appeal to people. It's a question, and they're wondering, by eating more, can I actually lose weight? That's going to be naturally interesting to a lot of people. The other one is an unusual statement. I said I would never do this, or just I would never do this, ... and that's going to make people curious enough to open. Questions are another type of email subject lines, very similar to curiosity, and they're great because they get readers to think of the answer and how it applies to their own lives. Whenever we're asked a question, we can't help our brains to then think of the answer. Even if we don't say the answer, we think about what would we do in that situation, or how would I answer that question. They make for great subject lines. Here's some examples. Are you joining us? Did you see this? First name. Or first name, quick question, ... We think, what is the question? Are you a robot? It's a funny example. So these are all examples of questions, and they've worked very well for getting people to open. They're ones I've personally used myself. What about drama type subject lines? Well, not all of us like drama. A lot of people tend to avoid drama, but we can't deny that drama is why tabloid magazines sell millions and millions of copies. And that's because gossip and drama, stories about other people, have been around forever as a way to form social connections, right? That's what, even back in the cavemen days, people would sit around the campfire and gossip and talk about other people's lives and the conflict in their lives, because it's intrinsically entertaining to us. So here are some drama style subject lines that I've personally used and have worked really well. The first one is not about me. It's just a story that we used. I was arrested at the airport. If we know who the sender is, we're going to be really intrigued about what happened. What's the story behind it? My confession, again, really drama-fueled subject line that's going to get people curious. This is embarrassing. The word "this" used in subject lines is really powerful because we don't know what this is. It's going to invoke that curiosity. Bad news. And again, any of these subject lines which you're reading on the screen, these drama-type subject lines, could be tied into any type of messaging, right? Goodbye could be, hey, I've emailed you a whole bunch of times. I noticed that you haven't replied yet, so I just thought I'd send a final email to say goodbye and thank you for being a subscriber to my newsletter, or whatever it might be. Sorry is very effective, and I'm going to regret this. So they might seem like drama, well, they are drama type emails, but they could be really tied into any type of messaging in the email content. Personalized is really important, as I've previously mentioned. So personalized emails can actually boost open rates by up to 14%. And you can use the reader's name, their location or interests, or other information you might have them on file from your email capture software that you can use to personalize emails. Here's some examples. Now, in all of these examples, instead of saying first name, I've just used someone's name. So what you would do is, use first name merge field in your emails, not Mary, in order to personalize these emails. Mary is just an example. So, hey, Mary works really, really well. Just hey and then first name works incredibly well. The brand Guess, so Guess is the sender and the subject line is Mary. Check out these hand-picked looks. Number 3 is Rent the Runway, and they say happy birthday, Mary, surprise inside. So you would write happy birthday, first name, surprise inside, knowing that it's your reader's birthday, and sending an email on that day is going to get a high open rate because it is their birthday. From Bonnie Fay writes, Mary, do you remember me? A great personalized, casual, conversational style subject line is going to work well. And then the last one is one I've used, marketing workshop invitation in Sydney. So we know that the reader is interested in marketing, and we know that they're located in Sydney, so we segment the list of people in Sydney interested in marketing. This type of personalized segment segmented email subject line is going to get a high open rate. What about the how-to style subject line? Well, how-to emails are super effective when you combine it with benefits, results, or problems that you know your readers are experiencing, or benefits or results that they're interested in achieving in their own lives. So here's some examples. And again, these examples show benefits or results that we know the reader are interested in. So how to get 1,000 Instagram followers tonight. And that works really well because we know they're interested in getting more social media followers. And tonight is also irresistible because it shows it's going to be quick to get this result. How to buy a house for $1. Again, that sounds unusual and even incredible to be able to do that. So that's going to get people opening to wanting to find out more. How to grow your business with Facebook ads. So how to is a great style I recommend you use as well. What about cold emails? Now, whether you're a business owner, a digital marketer, or a freelance copywriter, cold emails are a great way to generate new leads for your business. I've used them to get clients for my copywriting business, both as a freelancer and as an agency owner. They're very powerful when they're done correctly. Here's some examples. The first one is from my own agency, Copywriting Crew. The sender name was Jesse Forrest, and the subject line was Copywriting Crew X, and X can stand for and. Bluefish Marketing. Bluefish Marketing was the recipient, the person I was emailing. That was their company name. So that's going to be really effective because they think, well, who's Copywriting Crew and why would we work together? So they're going to open that email. Hey, first name, quick question is one I've mentioned earlier. Works really well for cold emails. Another one would be if Bluefish Marketing is an e-commerce agency and I write e-commerce copywriter, knowing that they're an e-commerce agency, for company name. That's going to work really well. If I'm a specialist copywriter who works with e-commerce companies, I can put e-commerce copywriter for company name and personalize it to the recipient's company name. And finally, are you ready? First name, question mark, is also a very powerful type of email that you can send as a cold email. Sales and promotions, right? At one time or another, as a business owner or a copywriter, you're going to be wanting to send sales emails or promotional emails. And that's because email marketing has a higher return on investment than other marketing strategies, with an average return on investment of $36 return for every $1 invested or spent into email marketing. So it still has a phenomenal return. So your email marketing campaign should be at least 5 to 7 emails and take your readers through a buyer journey. It's not enough to just send one sales email. You won't get the maximum results as opposed to if you were to send 5 to 7 in a campaign, you're much more likely to get better results. So some of those examples, and this again are numbered because we want to take people through a promotional or a buyer journey, right? So first one might be big announcement or big news, and that's where we announce the new product or service that's coming out. Number 2 might be FAQs about that product or service. We might say, hey, we've had so many people reply who are interested in from email number 1, so I want to answer some of the common questions, which also shows social proof by saying, hey, so many people emailed and replied. They wrote questions about this product, so here are all of our answers to those questions. Then some case studies. Here are some people that have used the product and got incredible results, and you actually provide testimonials or case studies in that email. Number 4 might be don't miss out. Hey, this promotion is ending soon. It's ending in just 2 days' time. So take action now before this, sale period ends. And then number 5 might be last chance, reminding them the sale's ending that day or the next day. They need to take action fast if they want to purchase this product or service. So that is sales and promotions. Last chance is an urgency type of email as well, which also gets a very high click-through rate, both in opens and people taking advantage of that sale.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, then do leave a comment below, like this video, or consider subscribing to the channel.